When I see a couple and I suggest the word codependence to them, many times they'll get defensive and they'll say, no, they don't really know what codependency is, but they're nervous about it. They know it's not something good. And there's like, we're not codependent, we're just very devoted. The difference between devotional love and codependence is pretty clear to a therapist, but you may be confused about it. When you are devoted to someone, that basically means you're independent. You realize that your personal decisions inside belong to you. You create your own joy, your own happiness, and your partner, with that, you give your partner the freedom to explore themselves too as an individual. Being devoted doesn't necessarily mean you go around together all the time. It just means you're devoted to caring for each other. You love each other. You take care of each other, but you take care of yourself too. That's drastically different than codependence. When you're codependent, something happens that you're not a complete person and the person you're with isn't a complete person. So you kind of hang on to each other. And it looks like the two of you are tight, right? You go everywhere and people go, oh, that couple is so sweet. You might even hold hands. Oh, I want to be just like them. But make no mistake, this is a sick relationship. It's sick because if you talk to a codependent or you're friends with a codependent, you'll start seeing things that you have no idea. If their partner has a bad mood, they're in a terrible mood. If they're at coffee with you, they tell you everything. They're so worried about their partner. Maybe they're going through a depression, or maybe they're acting erratically. The whole conversation shifts to their partner. And many times they'll encourage you or invite you into trying to help them because they're totally blind to it. If you're confused, if you're in a codependent relationship, or maybe if your brother or your sister or your mom or your dad's in one, I'm going to go through some scenarios that depict it fully. If you see yourself or anybody in your family in more or as many as 3 of these, I would say then it's time to get help. And what's important is that you understand this is a learned pattern. And so if you learned this from them, or if they learned it, there's a chance you could have learned it too. And unless you're really aware and you really work on your emotional maturity and you work on keeping your identity, your person in yourself, you don't lose that person to another person, you don't begin thinking of yourself as a broken person, then you could develop it and end up with the same thing because it's subtle and it's sneaky and it sneaks up on us, which is why so many kids that are raised in a codependent relationship with their mentors or their parents end up being codependent. So let's just go through these signs, okay? The first one, you're dating or married to an alcoholic or an addict of any kind. This can include a gambler, a porn addict, a sex addict, a drinker, a pot smoker, whatever. You do things for your partner that he or she can and should be doing for themselves. And you know, what's interesting about this one, you'll be like doing different, like packing them. It's more than taking control, although that is the mission of this. Basically, it's just doing things they should be able to do for themselves, you know, that you shouldn't have to do for them. You let your partner have his or her way, and then you feel overwhelmed with anger and resentment. But you'll usually act that out. You won't confront it or say it directly. You seethe on it. You feel responsible for your partner's actions and behaviors. And that's because you have an intense need to control how they act. You're always talking about worrying about your partner's issues. And you'll see this with friends at coffee. You're allowed irresponsible, hurtful behavior in your relationship. If you let somebody that loves you hurt you And that's after you've told them that's very hurtful to me, and you accept that time after time after time again, then there is a good chance this relationship is not healthy and it's codependent. You're leaning on the sick person, and the sick person is leaning on you. Your partner's moods affect your day. Those can be good moods and bad moods. But once again, it's not your mood. You really don't know what your mood is because you've adopted their mood as your mood. You always want to know what your partner is doing or thinking. This is the control aspect coming out. You'll text them, what are you doing? What are you thinking? Little things like that. I see it all the time in my sessions. You have trouble pinpointing your own feelings and thoughts, or you diminish, deny how you feel. This is something I see in therapy all the time. When someone comes in their marriage, and I take each person by themselves sometimes, the whole conversation will be about their partner, and I'll say, how did you feel about that? Oh, I don't know. It was no big thing. I probably overreacted. Very common. The way to get out of this is to start therapy. Therapy can really help because it's going to help hold a mirror and rediscover who you are. And the second way is to work on anything that builds up your self-esteem so that you can start seeing, who is this person that I've covered up for years and now joined another person that I've assumed their feelings for. It's really important for two people, in order to have a healthy relationship, that they each see themselves as individuals, that they each have values, and those values should align with your partner's, but it shouldn't be one enmeshed ball where you don't even know what your values are. All you know is those are your partner's, and now they've become yours. Hope this helps you.